what band were you slow to realize was awesome? As in, you liked a single song, but took a while to realize it wasn't a one-hit wonder. A Tribe Called Quest. To all you funky diabetics. Thank you for the likes and awards, but I thank you mostly for having great taste. Exclamation mark. Microphone check 1, 2. What is this? Fuck yes. Midnight Marauders is an absolute classic and even the later albums are solid. The band. I loved their biggest hit The Wait for decades, only to fall in love with their discography a few years ago. The Last Waltz is such a great movie/concert with them, and lots of other great people. Talking Heads. The 80s new wave thing didn't take out first but it gradually grew on me. Edit. Alright you guys. My phone is blowing up. At this rate I'll never get to sleep tonight. I'm going through a Talking Heads phase right now. If you haven't watched, stop making sense, you're missing one of the great live performances ever. If you don't have time to watch the whole concert, skip to life during wartime and just enjoy. That movie was what pushed me over the edge. I really wish that I had seen them live in their heyday. I think if I got the ability to time travel, I'd mostly use it for going to concerts of bands I never had the opportunity to see. Tears for Fears. Yes, I was around for their hits back in the 80s, but never gave them credit. They are so very good. Much better than a couple hits. Massive Attack and Portishead. New songs from 120 Minutes and other shows. Amazing stuff. The whole Bristol trip hop scene has so many amazing artists. Edit. Check out Max Inque by Tricky. It's brilliant. And spelling. Not from Bristol, but another great trip hop band is Morkiba. Pixies. Always knew of Where Is My Mind, but their whole catalog is amazing. Totally ashamed to say Fleetwood Mac. Everyone in high school loving it, and I was a contrarian. Actually didn't really listen until my 50s, and discovered they indeed were awesome. I'm ashamed but I only really got into Fleetwood Mac last week. I always liked Go Your Own Way, because I'm basic I guess. But I finally decided to listen to Rumors all the way through, because it's considered one of the greatest albums of all time. And wow did it live up to that billing. Just wow. Search around for the backstory on all those songs, and you will find a whole new multi-layer appreciation for this album. And all albums. A real soap opera. But so were the Mamas and Papas. It just all comes out in their music. To be fair, Fleetwood Mac's drama is very dramatic. But I'd consider the Mamas and the Papas drama worse. Like criminally dramatic. They were all cheating on each other with each other just like Mac. But John Phillips' daughter said he raped her as a young adult, and then later they supposedly had a consenting incestuous relationship. Just a horrifying situation. Beyond drama. The Cure. I found them to be okay until I listened to their album Disintegration fully. Now I love that album and can listen to it on repeat all day. That album is their magnum opus. Steely Dan. Heard their stuff on the radio as a kid, but did not embrace the brilliance of their songs till much later. Deacon Blues is one of my favorites. Steely Dan is awesome. Complex, well-written music with a lot of sarcastic lyrics. They were a slow one for me. I probably appreciated their music as I got older and started playing the guitar. Not a band, but Elton John. Growing up I liked Rocketman and Tiny Dancer. In 2019 I impulsively went to the theaters to see Rocketman and discovered there were other songs I liked. Your Song, Hunky Cat, Crocodile Rock, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, that I just never knew were by Elton. I became obsessed with his music shortly afterwards and was even supposed to see him in concert before COVID cancelled it. He has so many fantastic songs that are underappreciated. Hopefully you get the chance to see him play live someday. I've had numerous friends tell me his concert was the best they've ever been to. My concert was rescheduled for February 2022. Fingers crossed we can have concerts again by that point. Blondie. I have a lifelong love for Deborah Harry, a truly talented woman who just doesn't gaff what people think. Love you Deb! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. I have a few, but the first to come to mind is Modest Mouse. I, like probably a lot of people, heard Float On way too many times on the radio. I liked the song and the overall vibe of them as musicians, but for some reason it never occurred to me to dig a little deeper into their discography. Oh boy, did I find the treasure once I looked them up on Spotify. The Moon and Antarctica is a desert island album for me. Modest Mouse is so underrated. Bluest Occult. Only ever knew. Fear the Reaper for years. About a year and a half ago I looked into some others of theirs and really enjoyed a lot of them. Off the top of my head, some of my favorites include Fire of Unknown Origin, The Vigil, probably my #1, The Red and the Black. Then came The Last Days of May, Florida Man, Astronomy, Golden Age of Leather, E.T.I., and White Flags. Another is Ween. I only ever knew Ocean Man until about a year ago when I got super into Buckingham Green. Put all of the Marlisque on my iPod a few months later. More recently I've gotten into Quebec, currently my favorite album by any band, and White Pepper. My favorite tracks of theirs include Buckingham Green, I Don't Want It, Bananas and Blow, The Stallion, Part 1, Mutilated Lips, She Wanted to Leave, Falling Out, Transdermal Celebration, and my #1 The Argus. Soundgarden. I knew a couple songs and I decided to explore more of their catalog. Was not disappointed. That led me to Temple of the Dog, Audioslave and Chris Cornell's solo work. R.I.P. Chris Cornell. Best voice in all of rock music. I liked all of his work, but Audioslave was my jam in the mid 2000s. I got to see his solo act in Denver a few months before we lost him. Sat in the second row and was absolutely floored by him. I got to see Soundgarden twice, but that didn't feel the same. Queens of the Stone Age. Was in high school when their Songs for the Deaf album came out. Bought it and only wanted to hear No One Knows, and didn't get their other stuff. I know. Even gave the album away to someone couple days later. Now, I'm a fairly big fan of Josh Homme and many of his projects. Them Crooked Vultures, Eagles of Death Metal, Caius. Saw them at Cal Jams couple years ago and have all their albums. Songs for the Deaf is one of my favorite rock albums of all time. You can't even hear it. MGMT. Only knew of Kids and Electric Feel. Turns out they have hundreds of more amazing tracks. Little Dark Ages is an incredible album. You should check out Congratulations as well. In my opinion it's their masterpiece. A certified indie cult classic. Siberian Breaks is one of the best psych tracks in history. But all in all, I personally like Little Dark Age more than Congratulations. Super excited about their next album. Whenever it comes. Seriously, In the Afternoon is one of my favorite MGMT tracks already, and it's just a single. I can't wait. For quite some time Stairway to Heaven was all I knew about Led Zeppelin. Then one day I decided to cough up some green to buy the 4th CD. Well, needless to say, within a month I owned every album from I to Coda. 4th is my favorite rock album of all time. Not a single miss on the track list. Devo. Band a lot of people like to make fun of. People will argue until fear blew in the face that Devo was a one-hit wonder. Go through their catalog and there are a ton of great songs. They're also an incredibly influential band on a lot of modern music we listen to today. I never gave them a chance until I stumbled onto their cover of Satisfaction. That really opened my eyes to what they were trying to do. Mark Mothersbaugh is duckin' prolific. I guarantee that everyone has watched at least one show or movie he has done music on. Anytime I watch a movie and afterwards I think that was an interesting soundtrack, it's guaranteed to be Mark Mothersbaugh. Everything from Thor, Ragnarok to the Royal Tenenbaums. Jimmy Eat World. I had only heard The Middle for a long time. Clarity is a top 10 all-time album for me. Clarity is such an excellent album. It marked the end of my youth. Ween. Having only heard Ocean Man before, I thought it was a gimmicky band at first. Took me quite a few years to actually try listening to more of their songs, and I was blown away. The pitch-shifted voices in some songs still sound gimmicky, but they fit really well. For example in Tried and True, they are now my current favorite band. One of my favorite activities is playing a collection of Ween songs and having someone ask, wait, who's this? Every other song, still Ween, apostrophe. Cage the Elephant. What really blew my mind was that I loved like 3 of their songs, but thought each one was from a different band. I heard Ain't No Rest for the Wicked in a video game. I think it was Borderlands, and really like it. Grabbed the album and thought it was good. Next album came out, and I bought it, and honestly thought I confused 2 different bands or something. It's crazy how different they sound album to album, but still managed to make it work. It was definitely the intro to Borderlands 1. That was my introduction to Cage the Elephant as well. Jamiroquai. I heard Canned Heat because of Napoleon Dynamite and years later realized the whole discography was gold. My all-time favorite band to this day. So good. I love Cosmic Girl. Death Cab for Cutie. I know him about 15 years behind the curve, but I just started getting into them this year. I had written them off as just a band popular when I was in high school ages ago, but I've really been enjoying getting into their catalog. Death Cab and the Postal Service. All of their work is great but folks only know a couple of songs. I mean, to be fair, it's not like the Postal Service has an extensive discography. They only ever released 1 album and it doesn't have that many songs. Great album though. I'd argue there are very few perfect albums. Give Up is one of them. Aha. Take On Me isn't their only good song, and the vocal prowess of them is really underrated. Oh my god, The Sun Always Shines on TV is incredible. The Eels. Eels are ridiculously underrated. They're the best kind of answer here, a band that's not unknown, but with a catalog much better than one might expect. Also, A Man Called He was my favorite album for years. Probably The Strokes. I got into them with The Adults Are Talking, and have just now started listening to their entire album. Is This It is probably my favorite album released in the 2000s. Every song is a banger. Rufus Wainwright for me. I was a fan of his cover of Across the Universe, and didn't pay attention to anything else he had been up to. Holy hell, that guy can sing with passion. Same for Tom Waits. I knew his gruff side, but then I heard some of his ballads. Love that guy. Cigarettes and Chocolate Milk is one hell of a tune. Lord. Funny enough, I hated Royals, but I discovered Tennis Court and Team. I finally checked out Pure Heroine after Melodrama already released, and absolutely fell in love. I didn't really like Royals either. The song that pulled me in was Busket Season. It's absolutely lovely, and one of my favorite songs. Beck. Beck is such an amazing versatile artist. I'm a straight up crust punk metalhead kinda dude, but goddamnified on tone every album Beck has ever released on vinyl. Beck is a great answer in a larger sense. When Loser came out, everybody thought that was all we'd hear from him. I remember my local DJ saying things like, "Next up is Loser," by the newest one-hit wonder Beck. He sure proved everyone wrong. I loved the reactions when Beck beat out Sam Smith, Bjork, Ed Sheeran, and Pharrell Williams for Album of the Year in 2014. Almost had another Can I VMA moment. Iron Maiden. So many amazing deep tracks. The Evil That Men Do and Wasted Years are easily 2 of my all-time favorite songs. The entire Number of the Beast album is just beautiful from start to finish. Muse. I always liked them, but it wasn't until I properly started studying music and composition that I realized how genius their music actually is. Edit, or heck, an award. Thanks whoever that was. Pretty cool given that I'm merely here stating my opinion. If you ever get the chance, go see them live. The energy at their concerts is one of a kind. Even though it was kinda shitty venue, it's still top 5 concerts for me. While I don't listen to Muse much anymore, I can definitely confirm their live shows are incredible. The Decemberists. When I was a junior in high school, 16 Military Wives came on my Spotify. I liked the song a lot but never listened to anything else they had. My senior year of high school, right at the beginning of the school year, my history teacher played Calamity Song and I loved it. I downloaded the full album The King Is Dead, and it became one of my favorite albums of all time. Then I listened to Picaresque, and it became one of my favorites of all time. Fast forward 5 years and I'm still listening to the Decemberists almost every day. Love every single song of this, and will never get tired of listening to them. I also thought 16 military wives were about it for the Decemberists. But then I found Sons and Daughters through The Office. And that opened me up to the Crane wife. You should give The Hazards of Love a listen, if you haven't yet. The whole album is a story and it's amazing. Gorillaz. Edit. I'm not nearly as well versed in their discography as some of you. I just remember seeing Clint Eastwood on MTV nearly 20 years ago. For 17ish years for me, they were the band that made Clint Eastwood. Then I made a Beck station on Pandora and kept saying this song slaps. Who is this? And it was Gorillaz over and over. Definitely. I'm a huge fan of Kids with Guns and All Alone. Wow, I never heard anyone else ever talk about All Alone. It's so good. I like White Light as well. They're kinda similar in my ear, except White Light doesn't have any rap, which is fine. Tom Petty. I loved the Traveling Wilburys, so I decided to explore their own works a little. There was good stuff here or there, but when I got into Tom Petty's stuff it was just one after the other excellent songs. I now own as much of his music as possible, and am buying his vinyl, since I have a turntable. Traveling Wilburys is probably the most super of any super group. Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne, Roy Orbison, George Harrison, and Bob Dylan. What a combination. The Neighborhood and the Arctic Monkeys. Sweater Weather is still the only song I know by them. What else is good? Grandson. I once tried to give him a go and listen to Blood / Water, but this song is really average for me. Later I listened to Rock Bottom and fell in love in it. Now he's one of my favorite artists, even though I had a rough start. Oh no! Exclamation mark. Is easily my go-to hype song. Grandson is like the real life version of the band Samurai in Cyberpunk 2077. Pink Floyd Yard. Apparently they have more songs than their classic. We don't need no education. Have you ever listened to The Wall all the way through? It tells a nice story. Truly magical. Nice story. More like morbidly realistic story. There are probably lots of people who thought The Wall was about drugs and shit before 2020 wrecked some of their lives. Real shit. A most painful and personal exploration of isolation and loneliness in the midst of a globally connected life. That overwhelming mix of parasocial longing and separation from meaningful relationships? Fuck. Can't think of how that's relevant these days. Hey PSSST. Please subscribe and like.